So today we'll be discussing a second practice paper. ठीक है. The thing is, first of all, my camera isn't working and plus हमारे यहाँ पे construction थोड़ी सी चल रही है, so थोड़े disturbances हो सकते हैं. Just try to ignore that and make your best out of this video. ठीक है. So first we'll take a look at a question जो last paper में थोड़ा confusing था. ठीक है. And then we'll just basically just carry on with our today's paper. Fine. So let's get started. So last वीडियो में मुझे कमेंट मिला था कि क्वेश्चन 26 वैसे समझानी है, सो लेट्स डू दैट. ठीक है. नाउ देयर इज़ अ प्रॉपर्टी फॉर सेल्स दैट सपोज वी हैव अ सेल एंड इट हैज़ एन इंटरनल रेजिस्टेंस सपोज आर, सो उसको हम हमेशा सीरीज में रखेंगे विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द सेल. ठीक है. सो नाउ लेट्स अप्लाई इट हियर. इसका कितना है 5 वोल्ट्स है एंड इंटरनल रेजिस्टेंस कितना बोला 1 ओम, राइट. ठीक है. तो अभी हमें स्टेडी स्टेट में पूछा है चार्ज ऑन कैपेसिटर. स्टेडी स्टेट में क्या होगा, करंट कैपेसिटर की प्रॉपर्टीज होती है कि यहाँ पे नो करंट विल फ्लो, ओपन सर्किट. सो नेट रेजिस्टेंस कितना बस 4 ओम का होगा, मतलब ये है ही नहीं ऐसा टाइप का हो जाएगा. ठीक है, मतलब ओपन है. सो व्हाट विल हैव इज नेट 4 ओम रेजिस्टेंस हियर एंड यहाँ पे 1 ओम है, तो नेट रेजिस्टेंस कितना होगा, और दोनों सीरीज में तो 5 ओम्स. ठीक है. तो आपका नेट करंट कितना होगा V/R विच इज़ गिवन बाई 1 एम्पियर. ठीक है. नाउ सी इसके अक्रॉस सपोज पोटेंशियल ड्रॉप V1 होगा, इसके अक्रॉस V2 क्योंकि पैरेलल में है, तो V1 प्लस V2 मस्ट बी 5 एंड V1 हमारा कितना होगा IR 1 इंटू 1 1, सो 1 होगा. तो V2 हमारी कितनी होगी 4 वोल्ट्स, सो V2 बिकम्स 4 वोल्ट्स. ठीक है. नाउ द थिंग इज व्हाट विल बी द वैल्यू, न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू ऑफ चार्ज ऑन ईच प्लेट्स ऑफ कैपेसिटर. अभी देखो R1 इक्वल्स टू R3 है, तो ये और ये सिमेट्रिकल है, तो यहाँ पे जो और ऊपर से C भी सेम है, तो किसी एक कैपेसिटर को चार्ज होगा इट विल बी द चार्ज ऑन ऑल कैपेसिटर, राइट. द सेम वैल्यू रह जाएगी. सो हम बस उसकी वैल्यू निकालनी है कितनी होगी. सो नाउ सी इन स्टेडी स्टेट करंट तो यहाँ पे फ्लो करेगी नहीं, तो आपका जो 4 वोल्ट है वो 4 वोल्ट ही रहेगा अक्रॉस दिस, मतलब लेट अस अज्यूम ये 0 है और ये 4 वोल्ट है. ठीक है. नाउ द थिंग इज़ दैट यहाँ पे करंट तो जाएगी नहीं, तो यहाँ पे जो पोटेंशियल है और यहाँ पे जो पोटेंशियल है वो सेम रहेगी, राइट. अभी देखो सपोज़ यहाँ पे Q1 है, यहाँ पे Q2 है. ठीक है. अभी द थिंग इज़ क्योंकि आपका मतलब ये दोनों सीरीज में है, इसलिए Q तो दोनों का सेम रहेगा बिकॉज नो पोटेंशियल ड्रॉप. सो आपका Q विल बेसिकली भी सेम एंड Q इक्वल्स टू CV होती है ना. अभी C भी दोनों का सेम है, Q भी सेम है, तो V भी सेम होना पड़ेगा. सो अभी दोनों का जो V है 2V मान सकते हैं, मतलब सम अक्रॉस, एंड दैट शुड बी इक्वल टू 4, सो V मस्ट बी 2. सो कोई भी एक कैपेसिटर के अक्रॉस व्हाट इज़ द पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस 2 वोल्ट्स का. ठीक है. नाउ व्हाट वी वांट इज चार्ज. चार्ज इज गिवन बाय CV अगेन. ठीक है. C क्या है आपका 3 माइक्रोफैरड्स. ठीक है. इंटू वोल्ट कितना है 2, तो 6 माइक्रो कूलम्स हो जाएगा विच इज 6 माइक्रो कूलम्स. ठीक है. सो आपका आंसर डायरेक्टली C हो गया. फाइन.
Okay, then let's start solving this paper now. Okay, question 1. The coordinates of a moving particle at any time t are given by x equals to alpha t cube and y equals to this, the speed of the particle. Okay, now we have x coordinates and y coordinates, so we will have vx and vy, and the resultant will be given by root over vx squared plus vy squared, Pythagoras theorem. Fine. So that's it. Let's do it. X is given by alpha t cube and y is given by beta t cube. So we can directly do this. X dot can be written as 3 alpha t squared and y dot can be written as 3 beta t squared. So our net v will be equal to root over 9 alpha squared t to the power 4 plus 9 beta squared t to the power 4, which is thrice alpha t squared, thrice t squared root over alpha squared plus beta squared. So option D. Next, if power P, surface tension T and Planck's constant H are arranged so that the dimensions of time in the dimension formula in ascending order, मतलब from small to small to large. ठीक है. तो then which of the following is correct? So let's find out the dimensions then. Power can be written as joules per second. Joules can be written as Newton meter per second. So kg meter per second squared हो जाएगा इंटू मीटर पर सेकेंड. तो नेट आपका टाइम का डायमेंशन जो है वो -3 होगा फॉर पावर के लिए -3. सरफेस टेंशन इज रिटन एज न्यूटन पर मीटर, सो अगेन kg मीटर पर सेकेंड स्क्वायर पर मीटर. सो आपके लिए सरफेस टेंशन के लिए पावर भी -2. नेक्स्ट h इज प्लैंक्स कांस्टेंट. फाइन. h इज अगेन जूल सेकेंड. दीज आर सर्टेन डायमेंशंस दैट वी आर सपोज टू बी अवेयर ऑफ, मतलब simple units. Fine. So this can be written as joule second. Joules is again Newton meter second. So kg meter per second squared second. This can be written as, yeah, so -1 net power of second. So for h the power is -1. We want to write in increasing order, matlab small से large. So -3, -2, -1. So the answer will be PTH. So option A. Fine. Then question 3. A girl runs at a speed of 4 meter per second to overtake a standing bus when she is 6 meter behind the door. Okay, the bus moves forward and continues this with an acceleration of 1.2 meter per second squared. If the girl reaches the door in time t, then fine. So this is like, this question can be solved very easily by using relative motion. I hope you guys are aware of that by now. Okay, so just a minute, let me clean this up. Fine. So the situation right now is this, that there is a girl and there is a door, right? The distance between them is 6 meters, and she has a velocity of 4 meter per second. She has no acceleration, but this is v. This door or the bus has an acceleration of 1.2 meter per second squared in forward direction. Now since we are going to use relative motion, all we have to do is just apply acceleration in the backward direction. So like, let us assume a frame of reference where we have an A equal to 1.2 meter per second square in backward direction. So what do we have the net thing? For this one, net, like in the new frame, velocity will be 0, net acceleration will be 0, so nothing, no motion, it will be at rest. For this one, velocity will be 4 meter per second squared, but acceleration will be minus 1.2 meter per second squared, since we are going in the backward direction. Fine. So now the situation becomes like this. There is a girl, distance 6 meters, here's a door, door is stationary, girl has a velocity of 4 meter per second and an acceleration of minus 1.2 meter per second squared. All we need to do is find the time t. So simple equation of motion, fine. S equals to ut plus half at squared. So 6 equals 40 minus 0.6 t squared. So 6 plus 0.6 t squared must be 40. So option A. Fine. So these are like direct to the point questions. We are not supposed to spend much time here. Matlab, directly you have the formula, you have everything right there, just plug it in, you will get the answers. Fine. And in fact, most of BitSat will be filled with questions like these. Like as we go ahead today, you will figure out, like you'll find a lot of questions where hardly it will take you a few seconds to figure it out. Alright, so question 4. A mass m is attached to the end of a rod of length L. The mass m goes along a vertical circular path with the other end hinged at its center. What should be the minimum velocity of the mass at the bottom so that it completes the circle? Achha, here the thing is, it's a rod, right? Had it been a string, in that case what we would do is that at the uppermost point the tension should not be 0, basically minimum tension, we'll just go for that. But if it is a rod, in that case we don't have to worry about the string slacking, all we have to worry about is velocity. So in our case, all we need to do is just check if the velocity is sufficient, right? So let us assume the velocity at the top will be 0, so it is just sufficient enough since we are finding the minimum velocity. So length is L, fine. The potential energy here, let us assume it is 0. So here final potential energy will be given by twice mg L, right? Final PE, initial PE is given as 0. KE, let us assume it will be K. So here let us assume that no, kinetic energy will be 0 here since velocity is 0 and there is no other energy. Now since this is just rotating, law of conservation of energy, this sum must be equal to this sum. So K must be equal to twice mgl. K can be written as half m v squared twice mgl. Like this v is v min at the bottom, and this can be cancelled and we will get v min squared must be equal to 4gl. So v min must be equal to root over 4gl. So option D. Fine. D. Next, question 5. The upper half of an inclined plane with inclination phi is perfectly smooth, while lower half is rough. A body starting from rest at the top will again come to rest at the bottom if the coefficient of friction for the lower half is. Okay, so the scene is somewhat like this, that we have an inclined plane and half. This half is rough, lower half, and this half is smooth. So there will be no loss of energy here. Whatever loss of energy will be occurring through here, right? So initially, whatever is the energy, in the end, all that energy will be dissipated. Only then we will find that it will be at rest, right? Fine. So this is the basic idea. Now let us check one thing out. Suppose we have suppose we have an object going through a rough incline, right? It is here, so G will be like this, mg will be in downward direction. Let us assume this is theta, so this is mg cos theta, this is mg sin theta. So if we have to calculate the work done by friction, suppose, right, when it goes down, so all we have to do is take this F here, fine, frictional force. The work done will be F into this distance, let us assume that is S, fine, Fs. F can be written as mu into n, since it is moving it has to be maximum, so mg cos theta, right, into S. Now let us assume the horizontal distance is x, so cos theta can be like from here, right, so cos theta can be written as x by S, so S can be written as x by cos theta. Plug it in here, we get the work done by friction can be written as mu mg cos theta into x by cos theta, which is nothing but mu mg x. What does this mean? This means that even if it is on an incline, if you travel if you traverse a horizontal distance of x, then the work done by friction will be mu into mg x, fine. It will just be F into S horizontal, Fs horizontal, fine. So it doesn't matter what is the actual distance traversed, the work done will be just the horizontal distance, will depend on the horizontal distance, fine, mu mg x. So now let's apply this right now. Okay, so when this object is initially here, it possesses only potential energy equal to mg h, right, nothing else. When it comes here, it possesses no energy, since it comes to rest. There is no let us assume this is h, so this total will be mgh, fine. So this is the potential energy initially. In the final state, potential energy is 0, kinetic energy is also 0. This means all this energy must have been the work done by friction, right, that must have been dissipated while doing work against friction, right. So what is the work? This value must be equal to the work done by friction, which is nothing but mu mg into this horizontal distance. Let us assume it is x, fine. So this angle is given us as phi, and this will be h by 2. So tan phi can be written as h by twice x, so x can be written as h by 2 tan phi. Now we plug this in here, x, so this can be written as h by twice tan phi, mgh cancelled, so we have mu equals to 2 tan phi. So yeah, option C, done. Next, question 6. Just a minute, let me clean this up. So you see, like, if you had known this concept directly, you could have applied, like hardly it would take a minute. So these are important things, like just certain concepts should be known, so as to help us solve the questions easily and quickly. Fine. Question 6. A tennis ball of mass m is floating in air by a jet of water emerging out of a nozzle. If the water strikes the tennis ball with speed v and just after collision falls dead, rate of mass flow you want. Fine. Now suppose we know this one, right? Suppose there is this outlet area is A, density of the water here is rho, and the velocity of ejection is v, right? So rho a v squared is equal to the force that is applied due to this, like provided that it just comes to rest. Had it been like rebound like this, in that case velocity change would have been v minus v, so it would be 2v, so it would have been 2 rho a v squared. But since in this case they said that just after collision falls dead, so velocity is 0, so it will be v minus 0, which is just v. We plug it in and we get this is the force, right? So now the thing is, the force applied is rho a v squared, wherein rho into a into v will basically give you like rho into a, like let us do this, v can be written as x by t, like the horizontal distance traversed. So rho ax is nothing but mass, like because ax is volume, rho is mass by volume, so this is totally mass. So mass by time will basically give us the rate of mass flow, which is what is asked. So rho av is the rate that we want, into v gives us the force that balances it, so must be equal to mg. Rho av is our rate, so rate is given by mg by v. B, fine. Next, question 7. Which of the following is not an example of perfectly inelastic collision? Perfectly inelastic collision means after you collide, you move with the body as well. Like E is 0 for this case. So a bullet fired into a block, if bullet gets embedded into a block, then it will move. So this is an example. capture of an electron again will move at the same velocity. Man jumping onto a moving boat again will move together. A ball bearing striking another ball bearing. Here there is no relation, like not necessarily they should move together. So clearly this is your answer. Next, consider a uniform square plate of side A and mass m. The moment of inertia of this plate about an axis perpendicular to its plane and passing through one of its corners is. Okay, so for this you are supposed to know parallel axis theorem and perpendicular axis theorem. I trust you know this, right? So parallel axis theorem basically means, suppose you are passing through ICM, like through the center of mass, and we have an axis that is distance d, I, suppose I is given by ICM plus m d squared. This is your parallel axis theorem. And perpendicular axis theorem basically means, suppose there is a body, there are two perpendicular axes not necessarily passing through the center of mass, might be anything. So this is suppose I1, this is I2. Then if you have a third axis I3 going into, like perpendicular to this plane, like either outside or into the plane of the paper, in that case that I can be written as I1 plus I2, but through this point, fine. So these are the two things that we're supposed to be knowing and we'll be applying right now. Now, square plate. Now if you want to find the moment of inertia of a square plate, right, so we can divide it into multiple strips like this. Let us assume this is dm. So through the center, suppose we're just finding out, right, so through the center we can like this is in the plane, right, not perpendicular to the plane, it's in the plane. So if we consider this small rod here, we can write for it as dm l squared by 12. This is di, so net I can be written as integration, so ml squared by 12. So it's basically just like that of a rod through this axis for a square plate. Now since it's square plate, again through the center, if you make it pass in this direction, that will also be ml square by 12. Apply perpendicular axis theorem, because we are trying to, now we will try to find the moment of inertia of this plate about an axis that is perpendicular to the plane and passes through the center of mass. Okay, so that ICM can be written as perpendicular axis theorem I1 plus I2. So it will give us ml squared by 6, right? Now we have got this is the square and we have the perpendicular value. What we want is through this, again we will have to apply now parallel axis theorem, wherein I is given by ICM plus m d squared, where this is d. Now if this is a, this is going to be a root 2 and this is half of it, so by 2. So d can be written as a by root 2, so a squared by 2, and ICM is m a squared by 6, like l is a here, like side of the square plate, which is given to be a here. So if we just do it this way, we'll have 4 ma squared by 6 or 2 by 3 m a squared. Option D. Fine. Next, question 9. A bimetallic strip consists of metal X and Y mounted rigidly. Fine. Metal X has higher coefficient of expansion with respect to Y if they are placed in a cold bath. Well, let us assume that if you're placed in a cold bath, like obviously you are going to contract, right? Now since metal X has higher coefficient of expansion, it will have a higher coefficient of contraction as well, क्योंकि बस minus sign आ रहा है, nothing else is that, like net effect will be much higher. So for X, so X will decrease much more as compared to Y. So X will be somewhat like this and Y will be somewhat like this, but since they are stuck together, Y will have to bend, like it will be somewhat like this, like Y will have to bend together not to accommodate this small size of X, right? Like since X will shrink further, so clearly it is going to bend in this direction, that is towards left. Next, the excess pressure inside one soap bubble is 3 times that inside of a second bubble. Then the ratio of the surface area is, okay, simple सी बात है. Delta P for a bubble is given by 4T, मैंने पहले बताया था. So delta P1 by delta P2 is given by 4T by R1, 4T by R2. So R2 by R1 is given by 3. Fine. The ratio of the surface area, मतलब A1 is to A2 पूछा है, right? हाँ, so that will be pi R1 squared by pi R2 squared, which is R1 by R2 का squared. R2 by R1 is this, so R1 by R2 will be 1 by 3 का squared, which is 1 by 9. Fine. So option D होगा. I guess question में A देके रखा है, which is wrong, क्योंकि clearly अगर एक का ज़्यादा pressure होगा, radius has to be less, so surface area will be less. ठीक है? So option is, the right answer is D. Question 11. 2 equal drops are falling through air with terminal velocity this much. If the drop gets combined, the new terminal velocity will be, right? So now here like first of all you are supposed to know what exactly is terminal velocity, right? So terminal velocity basically means whenever an object is like falling through a fluid, after a certain point of time the net force like balances itself because of that drag force or Stokes law, whatever it is. Okay, so in the end it like no force is acting, so it falls with a constant velocity, that is terminal velocity. Fine. Now terminal velocity for a fluid, like for a body falling through a fluid, is given by 2 by 9 sigma minus rho g r squared by eta. ठीक है, where eta is basically coefficient of viscosity, sigma is density of the body, rho is density of the fluid, and that's it. ठीक है. Now in case rho is greater, in that case the drop will move in the upward direction and have a terminal velocity in that direction. Fine. So what is the question? The question is two equal drops are falling through air with terminal velocity 5 this much. ठीक है. If the drops get combined, okay, so if the drops get combined, their net volume remains constant, mass remains constant, density same, so volume also remains constant. So 4 by 3 pi r cube into 2, because 2 drops will be 4 by 3 pi new, let us assume radius will be r dash, so cube, right? So r dash must be 2 to the power 1 by 3 into r. Fine. So now check this, terminal velocity is given like directly proportional to r squared. So if our r dash becomes 2 to the power 1 by 3 times, our terminal velocity nu will become 2 to the power 1 by 3 squared times, because r squared, right? So 2 to the power 2 by 3 of original v. What was the original v? 5. So our final answer will be 2 to the power 2 by 3 into 5 centimeter per second. 2 to the power 2 by 3 can be written as 4 to the power 1 by 3 into 5. Option C. Fine. Next. Question 12. A wire of length L and cross-sectional area A is made of a material of Young's modulus Y. If the wire is stretched by the amount X, the work done is. Now, simple सी बात है, let us consider it as a string. For string, spring, sorry. If you have considered it as a spring, what is the net work done? The energy stored in it given by half k x squared. Now, suppose you're talking about Young's modulus of a like rod, right? We can consider it to be a spring, where we can actually find the spring constant, right? Let's do it this way. Stress by strain is going to be Young's modulus. तो force can be written as, sorry, F by A होगा यहाँ पे. हाँ, तो stress by strain, right? This is stress and this is strain. Del L by L is strain, so stress by strain. ठीक है. So when we do it, we get Young's modulus. So F can be written as A Y by L into del L. Now this is analogous to F equals to Kx for a spring. So K for us is AY by del L. So all we have to do is just plug it in here. So half K की जगह AY into L into x squared, where x is basically extension. So YA by twice L into x squared. Option B. Fine. Next. Fine. So yeah. Now question number 13. ठीक है. A lead bullet of initial temperature 27 degrees centigrade and speed v km per hour, fine, penetrates into a solid object and melts. If 50% of the kinetic energy is used to heat it, the value of v is. ठीक है. So first let us find an SI, then we will convert it into kilometers per hour. ठीक है. 50% of energy is used to heat it and it melts ना. तो अभी इसका टेम्परेचर कितना है? 27 plus 273, which is 300 Kelvin. So first you will have to heat it to 600 Kelvin and then you will have to melt it, right? ठीक है. So let us assume kinetic energy was K. So K by 2 must be equal to this much, like the net energy required to melt it, which is mc into delta T, 300 because 600 minus 300, plus m into L. L is 2.5 10 to the power 4. C is 125. Was m given to us? M was not, in fact चाहिए भी नहीं. ठीक है. So let's solve it like this. K can be written as half mv squared, half mv squared. M की ज़रूरत नहीं होगी अभी, देखा, cancelled. Now this can be written as, like we could take the 4 over, let us keep the 4 here right now. 375 37500 25123 as well. So it is going to give us 62500 into 4 equals v squared. V can be written as 250 into 2, which is 500 meter per second, and we want the answer in kilometers per hour. Conversion factor is 18 by 5, so 1800 kmph. Option B. ठीक है, direct था. Next question number 14. Carnot engine. वेल कार्नोट एंजिन क्वेश्चंस आर द लाइक ईजिएस्ट क्वेश्चंस, हार्डली तुम्हें 10 सेकंड लगने चाहिए, मतलब इफ़ यू फास्ट कैलकुलेशंस, ठीक है. So main thing is you just have to know the concepts and you should be fast, like quick with the calculations, accuracy, yes sir. Fine. So let's go. A Carnot engine operates with source at this one, sink at this one. If the source applies this, the work done is okay. Now we know efficiency eta is given by work done divided by heat supplied, है ना, work heat supplied, ठीक है. And this is eta is also given by 1 minus T2 by T1, 1 minus sink by source. What is your sink? 2, and we need the temperature all in Kelvin. This is obvious बात है, ठीक है, always deal in Kelvin. So this is 273, so 300, this is 273, so 400. So 1 minus हाँ ठीक है, so 1 minus 3 by 4 हो जाएगा, which is 1 by 4. So work done must be Q1 by 4. What is your Q1? 40, so by 4, so 10 kilojoules. Direct option C. Next. The mass of 1 mole of air is this, then the speed of sound at standard temperature and pressure is. Fine. Velocity of sound तो पता है, रूट ओवर गामा RT by M होता है, ठीक है. गामा मतलब सिंस एयर इज डायटोमिक, ऑब्वियसली बात है नाइट्रोजन ज़्यादा होती है, मान लो. सो 7/5 हो जाएगी गामा. R is 8.314, temperature is 0 degree or 273 Kelvin, and mass is 29 into 10 to the power minus 3. Solve it, you will get 331 point something or 332, मतलब almost 332 के आसपास. So option A. Fine.
Question number 16, ठीक है. The equation of A1 is string of linear mass density is given by this much. The tension is. Now we know that velocity is given by root over T by mu, and again last क्लास में बताया था ओमेगा इक्वल्स टू के वी होती है, तो ओमेगा बाई के लिख सकते हैं, ठीक है. तो रूट ओवर टी बाई म्यू हियर. और एक बात है कि हम साइन ओमेगा टी माइनस के एक्स टाइप का होता है, तो टी का कोएफिशिएंट ओमेगा होगा, एक्स कोएफिशिएंट के. In this case our omega is given by twice pi by 0.04, and k will be simply given by twice pi by 0.5, ठीक है. So just plug those values in, we get 1 by 0.04, 0.5, we can just have 50 by 4 or 25 by 2 t by mu squared. So we can write it like this कि 625 by 4 must be equal to t, और इधर एक म्यू भी आ जाएगी. म्यू इज़ गिवन बाय 4 by 100, सो डायरेक्टली वी हैव 6.25 न्यूटन. सो आंसर इज ए. फाइन. ओके, सॉरी हम थोड़ी कंस्ट्रक्शन चल रही है इसलिए बैकग्राउंड में थोड़ी डिस्टर्बेंसेस मिल रही होगी आपको प्रेजेंटली, ठीक है. तो प्लीज़ बे विथ मी. फाइन. सो क्वेश्चन 17, ठीक है. सो 2 bodies M and N of equal masses are suspended from 2 separate massless springs of spring constants K1 and K2 respectively. If the 2 bodies oscillate vertically such that the maximum velocities are equal, the ratio of the amplitude of vibration of M to that of N is. Okay, fine. So ठीक है, maximum velocities are equal. Vmax is given by A into omega. Fine. So दोनों के amplitude same बोल दिया है. रुको, have they said that such that the maximum velocities are equal बोला. अच्छा ठीक है, नहीं तो एक काम कर सकते हैं, A1 omega 1 must be equal to A2 omega 2. So ratio of the amplitude, right? A1 by A2 must be equal to omega 2 by omega 1. Omega 2 can be written as root over K2 by M2, K1 by M1. Equal masses बोल दिया है, तो root over K2 by K1. Direct option B. Fine. Next, question 18. 2 identical capacitors have the same capacitance C. One of them is charged to potential V1, other to V2. Negative ends are connected. When the positive ends are also connected, the decrease in energy of the combined system is. Okay, so we have 2 capacitors. Fine. This is charged to V1, this is charged to V2, ठीक है, positive negative मान लो. These negative ones are connected, right? So now once you're connected, you're going to have a common potential V, and क्योंकि both of them have the same capacitance C, we know that Q1 equals to C1 V1 होगा, Q2 equals to C2 V2, मतलब जो final होगा, since both are equal and both are identical capacitors, तो C भी equal होगा. So both Q1 and Q2 will be equal in final state, right? So अभी जो तुम्हारा जो total net charge है in the final state, Q1 will be equal to Q2 will be equal to this by 2, ठीक है. फाइन. तो अभी हमें बस ये देखना है Q net होगा क्या. तो तुम्हारा initially Q1 must be equal to
CV1 Q2 must be equal to CV2. अभी देखो, इफ़ वी सी इट लाइक दिस, नेट चार्ज कितना होगा? कंसिडर दिस, बोथ आर पॉजिटिव प्लेटेड, क्योंकि नेगेटिव नेगेटिव पॉजिटिव पॉजिटिव कनेक्ट किया। अगर उल्टा होता कि पॉजिटिव को नेगेटिव से किया है या फिर नेगेटिव को पॉजिटिव से किया है, ठीक है, इन दैट केस तुम्हारा डिफरेंस होता, बट क्योंकि यहाँ पे पॉजिटिव पॉजिटिव है तो हम बस सम करना है। सो क्यू नेट विल बी गिवन बाई CV1 प्लस V2, ठीक है। नाउ वी विल हैव टू अप्लाई द फाइनल स्टेट। इनिशियली तुम्हारा एनर्जी क्या होगा? Q स्क्वायर बाई ट्वाइस सी होता है, तो बाई ट्वाइस सी, सो ठीक है, ये प्लस CV2 स्क्वायर बाई 2, दिस वॉज इनिशियल एनर्जी, ठीक है। फाइनल एनर्जी कैन बी रिटर्न एज, अभी तो आपका तो Q1 होगा ना, तो Q1 स्क्वायर बाई 2C होता है प्लस Q2 स्क्वायर बाई ट्वाइस सी, ठीक है। Q1 और Q2 जो है वो Q नेट बाई 2 होगा। व्हाट इज़ अ Q नेट? CV1 प्लस V2, तो उसका बाई 2 होगा, तो सब्स्टिट्यूट कर लेते हैं, C स्क्वायर V1 प्लस V2 स्क्वायर बाई 4 हो जाएगा नीचे, ठीक है। सेम थिंग हियर एज वेल, तो बस से इक्वल वैल्यू इंटू 2 करना है, सो ये बाई 4, ठीक है। दिस बेसिकली इज योर फाइनल एनर्जी। नाउ व्हाट वी हैव टू डू इज, हाँ ठीक है, सो व्हाट दे वांट अस टू फाइंड इज द डिक्रीज इन एनर्जी। डिक्रीज बोला है तो इनिशियल माइनस फाइनल निकालनी है बस सीधा, तो C बाई 2 V1 स्क्वायर प्लस V2 स्क्वायर माइनस C बाई 4 V1 स्क्वायर, सॉरी V1 प्लस V2 का होल स्क्वायर, ठीक है। C बाई 2 कॉमन ले लेते हैं, V1 स्क्वायर प्लस V2 स्क्वायर माइनस V1 स्क्वायर बाई 2 माइनस V2 स्क्वायर बाई 2 माइनस ट्वाइस V1 V2 डिवाइडेड बाई 2, ठीक है। तो दिस विल बी लाइक दिस कैलकुलेशन के बाद, सो दिस कैन फर्दर बी रिटन एज C बाई 2 इंटू V1 माइनस V2 whole squared by 2, which is 1 by 4 C by 4 into V1 minus V2 का whole squared, so 1 by 4 V1 minus V2 का whole squared, so option C, ठीक है। Next question 19, a parallel plate capacitor has its capacitance of 100 picofarad when the plates of the capacitor are separated by a distance t, मतलब C equals to epsilon naught A by D मान लेते हैं, ठीक है। Here D is T, ठीक है। When a metallic foil of thickness T by 3 is introduced between the plates, capacitance will become, तो मैंने पहले ही बताया था epsilon naught A by D minus T plus T by K होती है, ठीक है। इफ़ यू बेसिकली हैव कोई भी थिकनेस अगर डाल देते हो, अभी क्योंकि मेटल है, मेटल्स का कंडक्टिविटी इन्फिनिटी होती है, सो ये चला जाएगा, बस ये होगी। अभी D यहाँ पे हमारा जो D है वो T है, एंड T जो है वो T by 3 है, सब्स्टिट्यूट कर देंगे इसके अंदर, सो epsilon naught A इंटू 2D by 3, सो 3 by 2 इंटू C नॉट, इसको C नॉट मान लेते हैं, सो 3 by 2 इंटू आपका इनिशियल C नॉट कितना था? 100 था, तो आपका 150 पिको फैरेड्स आ जाएगा, ऑप्शन बी, ठीक है। ओके, सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 20, ठीक है। सो two charges each equal to q are kept at x equals to minus a and a on x-axis. A particle of mass m and charge q naught equals to q by 2 placed at the origin. If charge q naught is given a small displacement along y-axis, the net force acting will be proportional to, ठीक है। So this is the situation, minus a. Now here we have a charge, and here at some distance y we have another charge. Both are of like same nature, so repulsive force होगा in this direction due to this, and in this direction due to this, ठीक है। So yeah, let us assume this angle is theta, right? So clearly this angle is going to be theta as well. So f same forces, everything will be equal in magnitude, so f cos theta will just cancel out, so the net force will be twice f sin theta. So f is going to be like, let us assume this is twice fc, okay, because coulomb force, twice f sin theta, ठीक है। Now twice f, this coulomb can be written as k electrostatic constant वाला जो होता है coulomb's law में, k q1 q2, so q naught squared by 2 by whatever this is r, right? So r squared into sin theta. Sin theta can be written as again y by r from here. Sin theta equals to y by r, so y by r cube, ठीक है। k q naught squared y by r cube, and r can be written as root over a squared plus y squared whole cube. Now it is said that y is much less than a, right? So y squared can be neglected, so it can just be written directly as a cube, so some constant, positive constant to y, so f must be directly proportional to y. A, done, that's it. Next question 21, an electric cell of EMF E is connected across a copper wire of diameter d and length l. the drift velocity of electrons in the wire is Vd. If the length of the wire is changed to twice L, the new drift velocity of electrons in the copper wire will be. Okay, we know this is given as current, right? So Vd can be written as I by E N A. This is charge of an electron. This is electron density. There is a number of electrons per unit volume. This is area, and this is drift velocity. Fine. So we have this, and I can be written as V by R. Again, R can be written as rho L by A, and since like resistivity doesn't depend on length, so it remains constant. It depends on temperature and other stuff. Okay. So this is all we have got, and V is basically AMF E. Fine. All these remain constant. All that changes is L, right? So Vd is inversely proportional to L. So initially it was L. Now L is doubled. So Vd dash will just be 1 by 2 of Vd. So your answer is directly C. Fine. Next, question number 22. The resistance of a wire is 5 ohms at 50 degrees, 6 at 100, and resistance at 0 degree will be. Let us assume 50 degrees T0. Fine. So let us assume it to be R1 equals to R0 1 plus alpha delta T. ठीक है, एक काम करते हैं, इसको R1 R2 और इसको R0 मानते हैं. ठीक है. So R2 will be equal to R1 1 plus alpha delta T. So R2 by R1 minus 1 divided by delta T must be alpha. This is delta T1. Fine. And R0 will be given by R1 1. And now since delta T is taken to be positive, and for 0 degrees we'll have to go behind right now, like 100 degrees is greater, so we use plus delta T. Since 0 degrees less, we'll have to use minus delta T. So 1 minus alpha delta T. Fine. But this will be delta T2. Now delta T1 value is 100 minus 50, which is 50. Delta T2 is 50 minus 0, which is again 50. So both are equal. So let us just put here 50, and in front of alpha we can write R2 by R1 minus 1 divided by 50 again. So what we have is R1 2 minus R2 by R1. Okay. So what is R2 here? R2 was our 6, R1 was basically our 5. So 10, so 4 by 5. So R0 is just going to be 4 by 5 of R1, which is what was our R1? R1 was 5. So our answer is going to be 4 ohms. Option A. Fine. Next, question 23. Okay, so question 23. An electric current is passed through a circuit containing two wires of same material, so row same, connected in parallel. If the lengths and radii of wires are in ratio this, then the ratio of currents will be. Okay, so I1 by I2 can basically be written as, since they're in parallel, potential is same, so V by R1, V by R2. So R2 by R1, R2 can be written as rho L by A can be written as pi R2 squared. Same for this one as well. So we can have it as such. Fine. Now L2 by L1 will be 3 by 4. R1 by R2 squared is 4 by 9. So your answer is 1 by 3. So option B. Next, question 24. Okay, so question 24. A battery of 10 volts and internal resistance 0.5 is connected in parallel with the battery this much. Terminals are connected by external resistance of this. The current flowing will be. Fine. So this is a battery. This is another battery. Oh, wait, let me draw it properly. You have this. You have this. And draw the internal resistance in series with the cell. So it is going to be 10 volts and 0.5 ohms. This is 12 volts and 0.8 ohms. And you have terminals are connected by an external resistance of 20 ohms. Fine. So what we want is the current flowing through the 20 ohm resistance, right? So in such cases we are going to apply Kirchhoff junction rule, right? So let us assume this potential is 0. So this is 0, this potential will be minus 10, this potential will be minus 12, because potential difference is 12 here and 10 here. And yeah, let us assume this potential is X. So now the net current through this and through this
by Kirchhoff junction rule, this sum should be 0. So let us apply that here. X by 20 plus x plus 10 by 0.5 plus x plus 12 by 0.8 must be equal to 0. On applying that, we could actually get something like this: x by 20 plus x plus 10 divided by 5. So let this be like this, and x plus 12 by 8 and 10 and 120 here. Fine. Now what we actually want is the current flowing through 20 ohm resistance, right? So that is going to be x by 20, right? So we want x by 20. So let us try to, from here, let us just figure out the value of x by 20. So we have x by 20 plus twice x plus 20 plus 5x by 4 plus 15 equals to 0. X by 20 plus 40x by 20 plus 25x by 20 must be equal to minus 35. So take x by 20 common, 1 plus 2, no wait, x by 20, right? 1 plus 40 plus 25 must be minus 35. So x by 20 is our required current, and 66 minus 35. So I will be minus 35 by 66, which is going to be somewhat around 0.53. So like minus 0.53, where minus just indicates direction, and we just want the value, so the answer will be C. Fine. Next, question number 25. Fine. Now here the question says a magnetic field of this much exerts a force of this on a particle having charge of this much. Okay, find the velocity. Now let us assume, like, we are from here we can clearly understand one thing, that since the net force is along I cap and j cap, clearly it basically means that first of all, let us write the expression of Lorentz force, right? F is given by Q into V cross B, right? Now since B is along K cap and the net force is perpendicular to it, it has to be along I cap and J cap. So that's why you will see only IJ are here, no K there, because it has to be perpendicular, right? So let us assume V is given by AI plus BJ, right? So just apply this formula here. We have F already. F is given by 4 into 10 to the F is given by 4 into 10 to the power minus 10 I plus 3 into 10 to the power minus 10 J, right? It can basically be written as 10 to the minus 9 Q into V cross B. V is AI and BJ, and we can just cross it with 4 into 10 to the power minus 3 K. So this will basically give us, overall if we take it out, we are going to have something like 10 to the power minus 12 out there. So 4 K cap. So we can just write 4A minus J cap plus 4B K cap, right? Sorry, not K cap, it will be I cap. Fine. So this is basically our value. These are the values we basically have right now. Now all we have to do is just basic mathematics right now. Like 4 into 10 to the power minus 10 is going to be minus 4A into 10 to the power minus, I, right? So 4B. So 4B into 10 to the power minus 12. So B gone. So B is just going to be 100 from here. And about A, minus 4A 10 to the power minus 12 must be 3 into 10 to the power minus 10. So A must be equal to minus 75. So clearly our answer is minus 75 I cap plus 100 J cap. So C. Now question number 26. A voltmeter has resistance G ohms and range of V volts. The value of resistance used in series to convert into a voltmeter of range NV volt is. Fine. Now to convert something into a voltmeter, the galvanometer must be connected in series with some heavy resistance, right? So now it is said that due to some I, this has a voltage of V, and we are not sure what the voltage here will be, but we are sure that the current will be I, right? So V is going to be Ig, so I can be written as V by G, right? And for this resistance, the drop can be written as Ri or R into V by G, right? Now this drop plus this drop must be equal to NV as per this question. So RV by G will be drop across this it is V, so must be equal to NV, so we can just cancel V out, so R by G must be equal to N minus 1, so R basically must be N minus 1 into G, direct, so option B. Fine. Next 27, just a minute. Okay, good. So the Earth's magnetic field at a certain place has horizontal component of 0.3 G and a total strength of 0.5. So obviously बात है Pythagorean triplet. So if net is 0.5, vertical must be 0.4, right? Now suppose we have to find angle of dip. Angle of dip is basically given by this angle, fine. So tan delta is going to be 0.4 by 0.3, so delta is going to be tan inverse 4 by 3, so option A. Fine. Next 28, a cylindrical magnet has the length of this and this, uniform magnetization. What is magnetic dipole moment? Now magnetization basically means dipole moment, like whatever you want to say, per unit volume is given by magnetization. Magnetization is given by 5.3 10 to the power 3, and we want to find magnetic dipole moment, so it will just be into volume. So 5.3 10 to the power 3 into volume is going to be pi. Radius is half into 10 to the power minus 2 because SI unit, pi r squared into h is 5 into 10 to the power minus 2. On solving it, we will directly get the answer to coming out to be somewhere around 2.08 into 10 to the power minus 2 joules per Tesla. So your answer for 28 will be B. Next, question 29. A coil of wire of certain radius has 600 turns and a self-inductance of 108 millihenry. Self-inductance similar coil of 500 turns will be. Now inductance is given by mu naught n squared A by L, where this is number of turns. Okay? So here everything remains same, just n becomes from 600 to 500, right? So basically what is happening is that n dash is basically 5/6 of n, right? So our n basically becomes 5/6 n basically becomes 5/6 of our original value. So our L dash will basically be 5/6 squared of our original value, which is 25 by 36 into 108, which is directly 75 millihenries. So option B. Fine. Now let's move on to question 30. Okay, two inductors L1 and L2 are connected in parallel and a time varying current, doesn't matter, flows as shown in figure. The ratio of currents at any time will be, well, थोड़ी देर पहले बताया था मैंने कि suppose we basically have a resistance वाला case, so R1 R2, so I1 I2 will basically be R2 by R1, inverse ratio होती है, and inductors are nothing, मतलब inductors will be treated directly like resistances, so I1 by I2 will be given by L2 by L1, so option A direct. ठीक है, ऐसे क्वेश्चन में मतलब हार्डली 2-3 सेकंड का लगता है, सो डोंट वेस्ट मच टाइम हियर. ठीक है, देखते हैं इसका आंसर मार्क कर देना चाहिए. नाउ क्वेश्चन 31. द इंटेंसिटी एट ए पॉइंट विद द पाथ डिफरेंस इज लैम्डा बाई 6 इज आई, वेयर आई नॉट इज गिवन बाय मैक्सिमम इंटेंसिटी. ठीक है, ठीक है, आई लेट अस अज्यूम सेंटर पे जो है वो आई एम है. ठीक है, आई मैक्स, सो इट इज़ गिवन बाई 4 आई नॉट. लास्ट वीडियो में बताया था cos 5/2 होती है, तो एट द सेंटर 5 0 होती है, तो ये 4 आई नॉट होती है, and our I is going to be 4 I naught into cos squared 5/2. Now पहले बताया था मैंने वीडियो में, d lambda by d phi must be equal to sorry dx होती है पार्ट डिफरेंस, lambda by twice pi, है ना. फाइन, सो d phi can be written as twice pi by lambda into lambda by 6, which is pi by 3. So if your phi मतलब phase difference is pi by 3, 5/2 will be pi by 6 and cos squared of that will basically be your 3/4. So it's going to be 3/4. So 3/4 of IM, and you want I by IM चाहिए था, तो it is going to be 3/4. So option C. ठीक है. Question number 32. If a thin prism of glass is dipped into water, then minimum deviation of light produced by prism will be. Okay, now for a thin prism, angle of minimum deviation is given by A into mu minus 1. ठीक है, पता नहीं चाहिए. So what we want is delta in this like new case, that is water, divided by delta of air original, like with respect to air पूछा, right? So A into new water minus 1, मतलब ये new system का जो होगा, not exactly water, मतलब glass to air to glass then glass to water वाला, we will need that. ठीक है, so divided by A into mu air minus 1, ठीक है. So this will just cancel out, and for the new system it will just be given by mu this minus 1 divided by mu minus 1, ठीक है. Sorry, no, in the original case there is no water, so mu just this will be there, ठीक है. Yeah, so this can basically written as 3 by 2 into, sorry, 3 by 2 divided by 4 by 3, so 9 by 8 minus 1 can be written as 9 by 8 हो रहा है क्या, 3 by 2 into 4 by 3, yeah, 9 by 8 minus 1 can be written as 1 by 8, ठीक है. And 3 by 2 minus 1 can be written as half, so 1/4, so your answer will be B. Next, question 33. A ray of light passes from vacuum into a medium of refractiveness mu. The angle of incidence is found to be twice the angle of refraction, right? So Snell's law लगाएंगे, sin I by sin R. Sin R will be just sin I by 2, must be equal to mu, है ना. So you just want this. Sin I can be written as twice sin I by 2 cos I by 2, the basic trigonometric functions. So cos I by 2 can be written as mu by 2. I by 2 can be written as cos inverse mu by 2. So I can be written as 2 cos inverse mu by 2. Option D, ठीक है. Next, now we have question number 34. Now question 34 is classic मतलब Lensmaker's formula, direct application. You just need to write mu 2 by V minus mu 1 by U must be equal to mu 2 minus mu 1 by R, है ना. तो what is our mu 2? 4 by 3 divided by V. V basically means final, वो हमें ढूंढनी है. Minus mu 1 is 1 by 40 centimeters पे, तो 40, and of course minus 40 इसलिए plus हो गया. Mu 2 minus mu 1 is again 4 by 3 minus 1 divided by R. R basically means radius of curvature, which is given by minus 20 here, ठीक है. So on solving, what do we get? We get 4 by 3 by V must be equal to minus 1 by 60 minus 1 by 40 minus 100 divided by 2400, so minus 1 by 24. We can be written as minus 24 into 4 by 3, which is minus 32, so minus 32 centimeters. Now यहाँ पे ऑप्शन में बस प्लस 32 दिया हुआ है, so probably they're just referring to the distance, like just the value, so it's just going to be 32, right? So 34A. Next, question 35. The energy flux of sunlight reaching the surface of Earth is given as this much, ठीक है. So if the average wavelength of sunlight is 550, then the number of photons per this will be, well, let us assume the number of photons is n, then n into hc by lambda must basically be 1.39, मतलब into 10 to the power 3, मतलब provided that n is the number of photons per square meter incident on earth per second, ठीक है. So n equals to 1.39 into 10 to the power 3 by hc by lambda. You have this value, you have h 6.626 10 to the power minus 34. C, you have speed of light 3 into 10 to the power 8, and lambda is given as 550 nanometers. Plug it in, it will be something around 3.98 or something of that sort into 10 to the power 21. So approximately it will come out to be 4 into 10 to the power 21. So option C, ठीक है. Next, 36. If the radius of this is estimated to be around this, then the radius of tellurium nucleus will be nearly. Now here there is a rule कि radius is given by r naught into 8 to the power 1 by 3, where a is well, r naught is basically hydrogen Bohr radius होता है, radius of hydrogen atom, and a is basically mass number, ठीक है. So in our case 3.6 is given as r naught into 8 to the power 1 by 3, that is 27 to the power 1 by 3, which is 3. What we want is r naught into 125 to the power 1 by 3, that is 5. So what our answer will be is just simply 5 by 3 of like radius of aluminium, ठीक है. So 5 by 3 into 3.6, which is 6 for me. So option D. Next, the binding energy of an electron in the ground state of helium is equal to this much, the energy required to remove both electrons. Okay, now here one thing to notice is that the binding energy will be applicable only for like 2 electron system. The moment one electron is gone, it will be converted into hydrogen, like 1 electron system. So for both we will have to deal with them separately. Like for removal of the first electron, the energy required will be how much? 24.6 eV, fine. Now for the removal of the second electron, you basically have in ground state, you have an electron, hydrogen like atom, and it is in NO equals to 1, and you need to take it to N equals to infinity. So what will the work done? 13.6, 1 by like 1 squared minus 1 by infinity squared, sorry, z squared भी n squared भी आता है, sorry, z squared आएगा, ठीक है. Like the formula is 13.6 z squared by n squared ना, like energy at any state, where z is your atomic number and n is basically your like state level, ठीक है. So for helium z is given as 2, so net will basically be 4 here, and it goes from 1 से लेके infinity, so that is just 1. So this is 54.4, right? So we just have to add it with 24.6 and we have 79 approx, 79 ev approx, नहीं exact. तो option D, right? Next question number 38. A radioactive nucleus can decay simultaneously by two different processes which have decay constant lambda 1 and lambda 2. The effective will be like simultaneous है ना, so dn can basically written as minus lambda 1 n minus lambda 2 n as well, because like it is something like this ना, it's going here and here. यहाँ पे जो dn है मतलब dn by dt सॉरी रेट जो होती है, सो रेट विल बी डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू पार्टिकल्स. सो लैम्डा 1 रिएक्शन का भी ये होगा, लैम्डा 2 का भी ये होगा, तो नेट जो होगा लाइक dn फॉर 1 इट विल बी गिवन एज दिस, फॉर 2 इट विल बी गिवन एज दिस, सो जो नेट होगा इट विल बी गिवन एज सम ऑफ दैट. सो लैम्डा 1 दिस वन फाइन, यू कैन राइट दैट लाइक दिस. So minus into lambda 1 plus lambda 2 into n. Now normally rate, suppose we have a rate constant given, it is going decay constant given k, so in that case we can write directly like this. Now here if we compare directly we can say that the rate constant lambda is of the form lambda 1 plus lambda 2. So option A, ठीक है. Next question number 39. A junction diode is connected to a 10 volt source and 10 to the power 3 ohm rheostat. The slope of load on the characteristic curve of diode will be. Now the thing is that कभी कभी ऐसे questions पे you might not know what to do, like क्या पूछा है कुछ नहीं पता नहीं हो रहा है. So check the options. They are in ampere per volt. What is that? That basically means 1 by R. Inverse of resistance पूछा है, क्योंकि आइडियल डायोड है इसका रेजिस्टेंस 0 है, तो पूरे सिस्टम का रेजिस्टेंस कितना हो गया 10 to the power 3 ohms. तो इन्वर्स पूछा है तो 10 to the power -3, तो डायरेक्ट ऑप्शन बी. कुछ क्वेश्चंस कभी कभी ऐसे होते हैं व्हेन यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दे हैव आस्क्ड, और ऊपर से देखो स्लोप ऑफ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक का वो तो तुम्हें मतलब रेजिस्टेंस के साथ लिंक कर रहा है और यूनिट्स ऐसी है, तो यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड मतलब कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ थोड़ा उल्टा होता है, तो यू विल हैव टू गो फॉर 1 by R. तो ये थोड़ा आइडिया लगाना होता है कभी कभी. सो एक दो क्वेश्चन हमेशा आता है जहाँ पे यू विल हैव टू थिंक लिटिल बिट लाइक नॉन कन्वेंशनली, जैसे इस क्वेश्चन में, और ऊपर से बहुत ईजी क्वेश्चन है, डायरेक्ट देखते तुम्हारा आंसर आ गया. नाउ फाइनल क्वेश्चन. If minimum voltage in an AM wave is found to be 2 volts and maximum voltage is 10, find percentage modulation index. Modulation index is given by A max minus A min divided by A max plus A min. ठीक है, ये इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर्मूला है एंड डायरेक्ट है, ठीक है, लास्ट चैप्टर था शायद याद नहीं. अच्छा, तो A max आपका कितना है 10, min कितना है 2. Again do it here. You have 8 by 12 which can be written as 2 by 3. And if you want in percentage, it's going to be 66.67%. So option B. Fine. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, again, since I was explaining, it took me this long. वरना ये पेपर भी ओवरऑल बहुत ईजी था, लाइक ए फ्यू क्वेश्चंस वर डायरेक्ट लाइक दिस एंड दैट, ठीक है, तो आसानी है. गिव इट सम टाइम, लाइक यू नीड टू बी वेल अवेयर ऑफ ऑल द फॉर्मूलाज बीइंग यूज्ड, एंड अगेन एक्यूरेसी एंड टाइम बेसिकली इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट हियर. एक्यूरेसी अच्छी रखो, स्पीड अच्छी रखो. हार्डली 40-45 मिनट्स लगेगा तुम्हें, पूरा पेपर सॉल्व हो जाएगा, मतलब फिजिक्स पार्ट तुम्हारा सॉल्व हो जाएगा, एंड दैट विल गिव यू मच टाइम टू अटेम्प्ट द अदर मच मोर डिफिकल्ट पार्ट्स ऑफ द लाइक टेस्ट एंड ऑफ कोर्स द बोनस क्वेश्चंस. सो होपफुली आई कुड हेल्प यू, एंड या लेट मी नो हाउ आई कुड इम्प्रूव योर एक्सपीरियंस एंड एट द सेम टाइम हेल्प यू आउट फर्दर, ठीक है. सो दैट्स ऑल फ्रॉम मी टुडे. थैंक यू.